Have you already taken what you would consider your best ever photograph? Let's talk about it. Hey, welcome to another video. In this one, I'd like to combine a few different thoughts in my head and what's going on, and hopefully pull it all together in the end and have it make some sense. While this video is being released, hopefully I'm sitting on the south coast of Iceland in a small town called Vík. Hopefully. If all goes well, that's where I am when this video is at least being released. And I'm mentioning that for a reason which I'll bring in just a moment. Secondly, this is also the May Photo of the Month video, where I share with you some of my subscribers' images that they've submitted. It's not a critique. It's just if they want to show one of their images during one of the videos that I make that available to them, showing my appreciation of the fact that they're loyal subscribers of my channel. If you'd like to participate, just go to my website, send me an email, and you're welcome to join in. And third, I'd like to discuss the idea of, have you already taken your best image? I don't want you to confuse that with your favorite image. I mean your best image as far as subject matter, emotion, aesthetics, composition, lighting, all the things that can make up a great image. Have you already taken what you think is that image? For me personally, I hope the answer is no, because I hope to always continue to grow as a photographer. My old friend Tom, who I've mentioned several times, used to always say, only show him your best. And I would show him some of my images, and at the time I did consider them my best. Now he knew I could do better. Maybe at particular times in my photographic journey, I didn't realize that I could do better. Now I know that I can always do better. And that's why I can state, I sure hope I haven't taken my best image yet. As I mentioned, I'm off to Iceland, and I have to admit I'm a little stressed out by it all. Partially because of the travel. I'm getting too old and cranky to be going through these airports anymore. Second, at this time, the way the world is, and even the way the United States is, I don't necessarily want to leave the country, but Iceland seems to be a pretty safe spot, and I'm sure we'll get there and get back safely. But it does add a little element of stress to the journey. And another thing is putting stress on myself, which is unwarranted. I'm only doing it to myself. No one's doing it to me, and I understand that. And that is to come away with what maybe I perceive as, at this particular time in my photographic journey, my best shot. Might not be my favorite, but my best shot. Technically, aesthetically, subject-wise, composition, lighting, everything that leads up to it, I realize that I'm more capable of taking that image now than I was even 5 or 10 years ago. And you can throw in the idea of, well, does gear matter? Of course gear matters. To some extent, yes. But to a larger extent, or to some extent, no, because you have to know how to use the tools that are in your hands. If you don't know how to use them, they're no good to you. But if you understand them and know how to use them to create something that's pleasing to you and maybe your audience, then all the better for it. So my goal is going to be to temper my emotions. I'm filming this 5 days before I leave, but to get my emotions in check so that once I get there, I'm not a crazy man just running all around saying, look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh, I got to take this, I got to. No. Slow down, find a nice composition, work it, take the image, and come home and put it on the computer. And one of the reasons why I think that I can always improve is because I'm better at post-processing now. And again, that goes back to tools. Adobe Photoshop, Lightroom, whatever program you use is better now than it was 10 years ago. I mean, let's face it, Photoshop users will tell you it's light years ahead of where it was 10 or 15 years ago. When I started using Photoshop, they didn't even have layers. There weren't masks. Obviously, the things you can do in post-processing is far advanced to what you could do before. Now, Ansel Adams is probably spinning in his grave saying, well, get it right in camera. And there's probably some of you sitting out there saying the same thing, get it right in camera. Yeah, you can get a large percentage of it right in camera, but you can still add to it with good post-processing. Now, that doesn't mean doing a lot of post-processing. Sometimes it might mean barely touching it. But understanding that you only have to barely touch it is part of being good at post-processing. For me, I'd like to believe that I've yet to take my best image. I'd like to believe that that's not going to come even until years from now. It's not going to happen on this trip to Iceland. It's not going to happen 3 weeks after I come back. Hopefully it's going to happen somewhere in the future. Again, don't confuse that with what I consider my favorite. I'm not sure I've even taken my favorite photograph ever yet. I've taken some of my favorites. Possibly I could narrow it down to my 10 favorite images. I don't know. I have quite a few favorite images depending on the genre. It's possible that I'll come back from Iceland and say, not only did I take my favorite image, I've taken my best image. I may come back and say, I got neither. That's part of the journey. That's part of the fun of photography. Again, getting back to Tom, he was an instructor and he used to teach darkroom, black and white darkroom classes. And he also taught platinum. And sometimes he would use me as his assistant, which meant I got the great job of mixing chemicals and making sure everybody's enlargers were set up properly and getting their images in focus. And I remember there was one Saturday where the reason why I was doing it was because after I got everybody all set up, I could use the darkroom myself. This was before I had my own darkroom. And as I was setting up one particular gentleman's image, I could tell right away this was not his first black and white class. You could just look at that negative and know either he got extremely lucky as a beginner or he knew what he was doing. And when I compared it to the image that I had intended to print, which I remember the image, it was an osprey sitting out on a branch, but it was this lone branch that kind of extended out from the tree several feet. And the osprey was sitting out on the edge of the branch. And I thought this was a pretty good example of using negative space. Looking back on that image, at that time I thought, you know, this is my best image. Looking back, I realized I wouldn't even put it in my top 500 favorite images. But that's what I had at the time. And comparing it to the other guy's image, I knew then, even though I knew I was doing the best work I could at the time, there was a guy who was supposedly taking a beginner's class who was far more advanced than I was. And I only share that story because at the time it bothered me, but looking back on it 20, 25 years later, I realized that that's okay, because that's where I was at that particular time in learning photography. At that particular time, that was the best that I could do. Now it's not. Now I would look at that photograph and either take it completely different with a different lens, or I wouldn't take it at all, because I see ospreys sitting out on a branch all the time. I'd like to wrap this up by encouraging you to keep taking your photographs, keep taking images, realizing that at this particular time, you are probably doing the best that you can do. And you might think that some of those images may even be your favorites 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And maybe they will be, and that's great. But I would also hope that you'd realize that if you keep at it, you're going to get better. You're going to get better at understanding light. You're going to get better at finding emotion, possibly within a subject, being able to tell a story possibly better within an image, being able to process it. Maybe you'll upgrade and get slightly better lenses or a camera, which will, if you understand how to use them, aid you in getting better images. There's a fine line. I don't think getting the Z8 made me a better photographer. Getting the Z8 did help me get better images. So it's a big learning curve. It's always going to be a learning curve, which is why I'd like to say I have not yet taken my best image, because I'm still learning. And I'm sure when I get to Iceland, I'm going to make several mistakes, and I'm going to come home and I'm going to kick myself. And hopefully those mistakes won't be as many as what maybe I would have done 10 years ago. We'll find out. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you got any questions, if you have any comments, Marcus, I know you're going to leave a comment about something, which I love. I'm just teasing Marcus. Leave your comment. There's a few others who may comment, and that's great. I love my comments. I love answering them. I really do appreciate all my subscribers. I know I've said it a few times, but I really do. You know, people that have these YouTube channels, it's hard to explain because you've never met these people that you talk with, and I admit that some of them send me emails. I do talk to some of them. So do you consider them friends? Are they not friends? You know, it's like, anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It's amazing to me how many people watch these videos. And even though I have this tiny channel in the little corner of photography on YouTube, it still amazes me that people from around the world watch these videos and comment or send me an email. I'm just grateful for it. I'm amazed by it. And I'm very appreciative of it. So thank you for watching. Take care. And hopefully the next video you see from me will be something from Iceland. So please subscribe if you want to see those. All right? Take care. Bye for now.